Hello, everyone, and hello, Judy Rees.
Hello.
How are you today?
Very well, thank you.
Fantastic. First of all, I have to say that I'm very, very honored to have this opportunity to sit with you for a few minutes and pick your brain.
You're
And
very welcome.
thank you. And to give some value to the world, maybe even more than we usually do. So, we're going to ask you a few questions about clean language and about yourself as well. Okay? So
Okay.
maybe because probably there are people out there who don't know who you are. They don't even know who I am, and that's okay. Maybe you can tell them a little bit about yourself.
So I'm a so I've been involved with clean language for about 20 years, which is a bit weird. I fell into it completely by accident. My first career was in news journalism, but I got interested in clean language because I noticed, having spent nearly 20 years using questions to find out stuff about people, I recognized something very different in clean language. It's still a way of finding out stuff about people, but it's most useful when you use it to help them find out things that they didn't know that they knew. And it gets really, really interesting when you're using it in more intimate contexts, such as coaching, um, where you suddenly discover that people are like, well, the UK metaphor is people are like TARDISes. They are bigger on the inside than on the outside. Inside every person, there is this phenomenal um, maze of interesting, interconnected ways of thinking about things. And the people think in metaphor. They think by comparing one kind of thing to another kind of thing. And everything they think is at its heart is in metaphor. And so you can get into these conversations where you discover astonishing inner worlds that without these questions, I would never have known that this existed. So I just think it's astonishing. Um, so while I have kept on trying to escape from clean language as being my main thing repeatedly over the last 20 years, it keeps pulling me back because I just think it's so fascinating. And the people, what it reveals about people is utterly fascinating.
I want to give just a quick example for people who are listening or watching and they wonder, what is she talking about? So, just as an example, if you ask a person, how are you today? And they say, good. Well, what kind of good is that good? Because there are so many different kinds of good. Who knows? So everything can go deeper than usual, I would say.
Mm. And you can ask about literally any word that somebody uses and ask what kind of, and you'll discover that what they mean by the word is different to what somebody else means by the word.
And we'll come back to this in a few questions. Because right now, what I want to ask you, so I admit I read that you came across clean language sort of in your own maybe therapeutical journey or something like that. Is that how did you come
Um,
across clean language?
I came across it. I was learning NLP, neuro linguistic
Okay.
programming. Um, I got really interested in it as part of a management training I was following at the when I was a editor. Um, and yeah, I just found it really, really interesting. Um, since then, of course, clean language, because clean language comes from a therapy frame and has been taken into a coaching frame, you can't spend 20 years learning about it without finding yourself on the receiving end of a bit of coaching and therapy using clean language. And amongst the experiences I had was being theraped by David Grove, the guy who created clean language, which was very, very weird indeed. Um, And I love the fact that clean language doesn't have to stay in the therapy world. Um, as I proceed through life, I have less and less faith in the therapy project and the fact that exploring your own inner world is actually good for you. And yet then sometimes something will take me back into that space and so on. So I I I, I waver about whether therapy is a good thing or bad thing.
Okay, that's a fascinating concept. Not for this interview, because actually, our main goal here is to r- maybe remind people, especially hypnotists, because I myself am a hypnotherapist. And I also came across clean language not 20 years ago, but more or less about a year ago. Yet the fascination is as much as you describe it. It just blew my mind how powerful this tool is. And you mentioned that many people are not even aware or they don't know that David Grove was a hypnotist and an NLP practitioner.
Mhm.
And if we can spread this tool more in that field of hypnosis, it can be great,
Yeah,
right?
I think it's really, really useful in hypnosis contexts. You know, so David Grove was a hypnotist. He was a hypnotherapist. He was a psychotherapist who would, well, uh, um, a counseling psychologist, I think was his technical title. But he was absolutely fascinated by the work of Milton Erickson and how Erickson got interested in how might I use hypnotic stories in such a way that they will definitely work for this person in front of me. Well, David Grove took it to the logical extreme and said, how might I use the words and stories that my client is telling me? And if you like an Aikido move, use those with that person. And first, his David Grove's first Aikido move was to use those same words and stories to help the person. So he would do a switcheroo kind of move and twist and bend the client's words. But then he thought, actually, maybe I don't need to do that. Maybe if I just work with what my client is bringing and help them go into James Tripp calls it a kind of waking trance. It sort of is when somebody's exploring their inner world in their own words. They don't have to be sitting there immobile, not talking with their eyes shut. People can get absolutely fascinated by what's inside themselves. Not only do people not realize that other people don't have these inner worlds inside them, but they don't realize they've got their own. So
Yes.
when you start suddenly, oh my goodness, speaking just purely for myself, I've got this amazing cloud of information which exists behind my head, and it it happens mostly outside of my awareness. And then when I have an aha moment, two things inside the cloud connect, and there's little, wow, I never knew there was all that in it. Well, when you, as the hypnotist, are asking the person questions about that, let's say that cloud, whatever it might be, they are in some kind of trance. And you can help them to access their own healing, their own ways of fixing their own stuff. You don't have to go, I am the hypnotist.
Yes.
I'm going to fix you. It's cleverer than that.
What you mentioned about Dave Grove journey of finding that why do I need to work so hard? Why not just use their words? It reminds me Einstein quote that everything needs to be made as simple as possible, but not simpler.
Mm. And it's not always easy to resist that urge to fix it.
I
I
tell
know
them,
exactly what to do. I've got a little script here that will fix exactly that
right.
little thing. I've done dozens of them.
So it's like the people that we practice together, I tell them all that the hardest thing in clean language is to keep your mouth shut. Because automatically, yes, we want to help, we want to give suggestions, but we miss the mark so often. So why do you think that it didn't become a big thing in the
Yet,
hypnosis world?
yet.
Yet, of course, yet here we are. Yet here we are.
I think that clean language has some very specific challenges with promoting itself. Um, since people who are enthusiastic about clean language are also enthusiastic about listening to the other person's words, the other person's stories, and that means that people who are interested in clean language tend to have some quite specific and quite interesting challenges about selling what they do. I'm in that category as well. And also, I noticed that within the hypnosis world, there are a number of people who do promote and use clean language, but they use it under a different name
Mm.
because clean language is an absolutely shocking name for anything that you think might be useful. I mean, why would anyone go out shopping for something called clean language? What a dreadful name. Um,
Well, that's a matter of opinion. I think it's a very mind-provoking name. You know, people are like, oh,
but I
clean.
think
What? Mhm.
James Tripp's um, name, Hypnosis Without Trance, I know there are other things included in
Yes.
Hypnosis Without Trance now, but the original idea was clean languages, Hypnosis Without
Okay.
Trance. Um, Similarly, Igor Ledathovsky uses a whole bunch of clean language in his work, um, as does Mike Mandel, but they give it different labels and they put it within their other things that they teach. And Igor, in particular, I think Mike Mandel as well, they got very, very good at selling things on the internet.
Yes, absolutely.
And who am I to say that they're doing it wrong and that they should be selling clean? No, David Grove's been dead a long time now, and he said take this clean language and do stuff with it.
Right.
Um, it's I think there is, to me, there is value in saying this comes from clean language, this is clean language, and indeed in connecting the clean language community, the people who use language in different contexts, because by knowing about each other, we can learn from each other. If we don't know about each other, um, then it feels like we have to reinvent the wheel every time some new person picks this stuff up.
So that brings me to ask you, if a person wants to start getting deeper or not even deeper, just to start with clean language. So you have a community, I know that, right? And you're working also on new things. And there's also a big event coming up, which we'll talk about at the end. That will be
Mhm.
the thing at the end. But what would you recommend for a person who wants to start? Where, how? You also wrote a book, a very good book.
I
Link
I
will
co-authored a
be.
book. So the book Clean Language Revealing Metaphors and Opening Minds by Wendy Sullivan and myself is an excellent place to start. There are other places to start. Um, the book James Tripp finally got edited and got out there called Hypnosis Without
Yeah,
Trance.
trust.
It's also pretty good as
Right.
a place to start. Um, you could also look at my Substack, so Judy Rees Clean Language on Substack. There's a load of stuff there. And I also publish a weekly link letter, which will tell you stuff that's going on in the clean world and who's doing what and what's going on. So those are some places to start. But a place to start is literally to start by asking a couple of clean language questions. Make it your discipline, make it your practice each day to ask what kind of X? So just as you said, what kind of good, Um, a student colleague, Siobhan Harris, made it her business. She works in palliative care and end of life care for people, and she made it her business to ask every time she heard the word support, what kind of support?
Yes.
And discovered so many different meanings of the word support. Um, Someone else, Pierre Nice, decided he works in the agile software development field, and he decided that every time he heard the word agile, he would ask what kind of agile. And he made a lovely little video of 75 different meanings of the word agile. Um, you could use it for hypnosis. So you could say, when anybody in your immediate world says says hypnosis, you go, what kind of hypnosis is your hypnosis? It could be really interesting. I'd love to know what happens.
Absolutely. Uh, Also, I hope it's okay that I'm saying that like I also have a small community and I have a also a podcast. And in the podcast, we also give weekly exercises, and it starts with like just use this question this week to practice. Now, the amazing thing about clean language is that at its base, it is super, super simple. Like you don't need to spend, I don't know, 5 years of learning it and getting a master degree. It's more or less the basics. Yes, the basics.
Mm,
You can of course go higher in the scale and the levels, but it's 12 questions which people add here and there more. And
mm,
even with just with 3 questions, people can have unbelievable revelations.
yes.
Yes. So that's amazing. And we'll have links down under in the description of the video. You can find the links to find all your amazing offerings. And we're getting close to the end. So, how about telling the viewers about Metaforum?
Well, Metaforum is the place where you can connect up with other people who use clean language in a whole bunch of different contexts. Um, Typically, we'll have about 120 people will be in this online space over the course of about 12 hours. Now, you don't have to stay for the whole 12 hours. You can come at whichever bit of the day suits you. So we run it over 12 hours so that the whole world has got at least some time, which
Right.
is not during their sleeping hours. But every year somebody shows up at 3 a.m. their time because they get so excited by it.
Right.
Because what we do is we basically have a system whereby anybody who comes can run a session. We don't say people have to be speakers and they don't get to be
Really?
approved by a committee. No, all you we have a way of doing it where you basically, if you have a subject you want to get talking about, you basically post a Google slide in a slide deck and say, I want to do this and I want to do it at a certain time. Who wants to
Okay.
join?
I'm not
And
I'm not sure that this
simul
is very self-explanatory in the website.
no, but don't. But it works. Weirdly
Okay.
enough, it works. You at any one time there are typically three conversations
Rooms.
going on in
Okay.
different Zoom spaces. Each of them will be about something completely different. A lot of them will be run by different clean language trainers from different parts of the world, but anyone can share their thing. You'll get some really lovely practitioner stories. So, was it last year we had a lady from Canada who'd introduced clean language to her students in a university course. And she just said, "This is what I did,
Yeah.
and this is the results I got." And it was absolutely fascinating. Um, I'll be talking about what we've been doing with clean language in the healthcare world over the last 2 years, and probably also in the hospice world, in the end of life palliative care world, which is a really interesting place to be using clean language questions. But there'll be people who will just come along and say, I've got a question. I want to really understand how this works in a hypnotic context, or I want to really understand how I might use this in the work that I do, whatever that work is. and people will come along and they'll chat to you and they'll share their experiences and they'll learn something new.
Oh, it absolutely sounds fascinating. And this is happening on November 21st, right? Think
Now I should have that memorized, shouldn't I?
no,
November the 22nd, because it's a
22nd.
Saturday.
Well, it depends where you are in the world, I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah. So
Think.
from where I am in the UK, it's November the 22nd.
All right, from where I am in Thailand, it's starts on the 21st. And wherever you are in the world, it will be amazing to join this thing. So again, link is down in the description, and registration is already open. It's
Registration is already open and it will always sell out. We
okay.
don't have tickets on
So
sale for the
it's
last two
limited.
weeks. Yeah.
It's a all right. Well, that's also good to know. And it's an online event and it has rooms and breaks. It's not a constant on thing, so you don't have to be there the whole time. And
No.
it sounds like a fantastic opportunity to meet many, many practitioners and
And to learn loads. It's, you
you
wouldn't get this level of training
know,
anywhere else.
wow,
You will always see the leading figures of clean language world who brilliantly have always supported this event. So Penny Tompkins, James Lawley, um, Sharon Small is co-organizer with me of the event. And yeah, you'll meet some
amazing.
great people.
Well, I'll definitely be there. I know you will be there. And I hope that you guys will be there as well. And is there anything else that you want to say before we end this fantastic interview?
I'm excited. I just think I am excited by clean language. I continue to be excited by it after all these years. And I just think more people should play with it.
I agree with you. I mean, you've been doing it 20 years and you still love it. I've been in this for 1 year, as I said, and I really, really love it. And it's amazing to see how people that start playing with it just get get an absolute amazing tool to improve their communication with other people. So it's like even just learning it and doing it with your friends and family or whatever can be an amazing thing. And you have nothing to lose but so much to gain. So come join this world. And Judy, thank you so much. It's really been an honor and a pleasure to meet with you here. And I'll see you latest November, if not before.
Thank you very much indeed.
And thank you.